just talk a little bit about what's in this vaccine for children, how it's different than the one that's been given to teenagers and adults? Is it different at all? Things like that?
Well, we know that the dosage of the Pfizer vaccine for adolescents and adults is a 30 microgram vaccine. For kids 5 to 11, the dosage is 10 micrograms. So it's a third of the dose. It's also important to note that it comes in a formulation that's specific for kids. So it's a new vial. It comes in 10 doses per vial. It has an orange cap on it, as opposed to 6 doses in vials for adolescents and adults. It had a purple cap. And also keep in mind that the ancillary supplies that comes with the vial are coming specifically for kids. So it's smaller needles and syringes and all of that. So we're excited about it. We have millions of doses that are being shipped, and they already started to make it to providers across the country, and we're waiting patiently for the CDC decision, hopefully later today.
Why did this vaccine, or the vaccine for kids in general as opposed to adults, why did that take longer to get approved? Kind of what was the reasoning for that, I suppose?
Well, look, we had to wait for the data and the trials for kids. As soon as the data was available, Pfizer submitted an application to the FDA. FDA very promptly reviewed the data. Their advisory committee met last Friday, and shortly thereafter, they've approved the vaccine, and we started shipping the vaccine as soon as the FDA authorized it. And today, the advisory committee to the CDC is meeting to discuss the vaccine, and hopefully they'll make a recommendation to the CDC later today. And I know the CDC will take action as early as today or shortly thereafter to give us a final determination on the vaccines for kids 5 to 11.
The FDA commissioner recently made a statement saying that vaccinating this 5 to 11 age group will be really crucial in helping us return to a new normal. Can you speak a little bit to that, and kind of what are your thoughts on that?
Well, here's what I would tell you. We know there are about 28 million kids in this country, ages 5 to 11, and they have been not eligible for the vaccine so far. So we had to do everything we can to protect those kids by making sure that everybody around them is vaccinated. Their older siblings, their parents, their grandparents, their teachers, their bus drivers, all are getting vaccinated, and that's really important. Now we have an opportunity to be able to protect them directly, and that's important too. Look, we had more than 1.8 million cases of kids between the ages of 5 to 11. We've had more than 8,600 hospitalizations, a third of those for kids who ended up in ICU. More than 143 kids have died due to this virus. So we know that the COVID impacts older adults more and is more severe in older adults, but that doesn't mean it's trivial for kids 5 to 11. So the opportunity for us to be able to protect those 28 million kids is extremely important at this point.
How does this vaccine compare to other vaccines that kids may get, chickenpox, flu, things like that?
So, I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? I didn't hear the question.
Yeah, so I guess just for kids who are maybe watching this, how does this vaccine compare to other vaccines that they may have already gotten, like chickenpox or flu, things that they might already sort of be familiar with?
Well, what we know from the data that this vaccine appears to be very effective in preventing COVID-19. The trial that Pfizer put together had about 1,300 kids who've gotten the vaccine, and only 3 cases of COVID were detected. In the 660 kids who were getting the placebo, 16 cases of COVID-19 were detected. So it's showing us an effectiveness of about 91% to be able to prevent kids from contracting this virus. And when you look at the safety profile, they had another 2,000 kids who've gotten the vaccine. And when you look at the safety profile, there was no serious adverse reaction that were detected. And when you look at the mild symptoms like fever or body aches or headache, those were consistent with what we've seen with adolescents and adults. So we have a safe and an effective a very effective vaccine. And we're hoping that as soon as the CDC makes a determination, and if it's a positive determination to allow the vaccine, we're already shipping millions of doses to doctors' offices, pharmacies, community health centers across the country. And we're hoping that this program will be up full speed the week of November 8th.
And can you speak a little bit to, and maybe you can, maybe you can't, it's okay if you can't, but what's the impact going to be potentially on schools if more kids within this 5 to 11 age group are vaccinated?
Well, here's what I can tell you. We know what works for schools to be able to be open safely. We all want to learn in person. We all learn better in person. And the CDC guidance on school opening has been very clear. You vaccinate everybody who's eligible. You mask indoor, irrespective of your vaccination status. You do testing and you do ventilation. You make sure your ventilation is up to speed. So the opportunity for us to have 28 million more kids to be eligible for vaccination, that would be very important for schools so that we can be even more comfortable with schools being open and we can get back to in-person learning.
Is there anything else that you maybe thought that I would ask, or different points that you maybe wanted to talk about, or that you think are important that maybe I just didn't ask or we didn't quite get to?
No, I think it's important to know that since Friday, right after the FDA authorized the vaccine, our teams have been packing and shipping doses round the clock, 24/7. And we have millions of doses that are on their way to providers' offices. And now, obviously, we do expect some vaccination to happen later this week if the CDC issues its approval tonight or tomorrow. But we do think the program will be full speed the week of November 8th.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really
Great. Thank you, Madison. And again, apologies for running late here.
Oh, no worries. No worries. Thank you so much.
Thank you.